of the greatest moments in Tampa Bay Lightning history was last year's Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. The underdog Bolts, led by Ben Bishop, upset Henrik Lundqvist and the New York Rangers, advancing to the Stanley Cup Final. Tonight, the two teams will meet for the first time since that night in May. Lightning and Rangers from Amalie Arena, next on Fox Sports Sun. The Lightning face the difficult task of trying to slow down the NHL's hottest team, the New York Rangers, with an undermanned lineup. A top effort from all healthy hands on deck will be required for this one as these two playoff rivals meet at Amalie Arena here on Fox Sports Sun. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our coverage tonight. Rick Peckham here in the booth. Brian Engblom down between the benches. Bobby Taylor joining us along with Michelle Gingras and Paul Kennedy hosting as the Lightning take on the Rangers for the first time this season. The Rangers have won 9 straight coming in. The Lightning have 1 win in their last 5, plus 5 forwards out hurt. John Cooper and his staff have really had to juggle things up. And Brian, he's got Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov together going with the 2 most productive forwards on one line.
Yeah, I think you have to do that. When you're missing a lot of guys out of your lineup, you ride your big dogs as hard as you can. Kucherov and Stamkos have only played a couple of games together. Didn't play much together at all last year, but it doesn't show. I thought right off the bat, a couple of games ago, they started finding each other on the ice. They know what each other likes to do. They look at the ice the same way. That's the key. Go to the open spot, and they know the other guy will find them with the puck. That's what great talent does. I'd like to see Kucherov shoot the puck a little bit more. He's got a terrific release. We know Steven Stamkos is going to shoot the puck. That's his #1 priority, but these two know how to find each other in the offensive zone. They need to have the puck on their stick a lot tonight and get those shots away.
Well, the Rangers have 30 points, their first 18 games, best start in franchise history. Their top line, you would think Rick Nash would be the leader. He's been quiet, but Derek Brassard, Matt Zuccarello, they're making a lot of noise.
Boy, are they ever. Derek Brassard had a breakout year last year. He had 19 goals and 60 points last season. He's got 13 points already this year, and he has done an outstanding job at center. He can match up and play terrific defense as well. Matt Zuccarello, I think, is the straw that stirs the drink. Look at this move here against an experienced defenseman. He has that change of speed. He goes into the tough areas. He's got great hands to finish off plays, and he can also make the long pass as well as anybody in the National Hockey League. Zuccarello, 15 goals 2 years ago, 19 goals last year, and 9 goals already this year. These two guys are the ones that you're going to have to watch if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Lightning have called up 5 players in the last week. They've got 5 forwards, including Ryan Callahan, out of this game. Will try to pull through against Henrik Lundqvist as he is leading the league in goals against and save percentage. Ben Bishop, underrated in the matchup with Lundqvist last year, came out ahead. Tampa Bay Lightning hockey and Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Steak 'n Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Outback Steakhouse, steak done right. Order online at Outback.com. Welcome back to Amalie Arena. Lightning opening a 3-game homestand against the Rangers tonight. Standing by, Paul Kennedy.
Thank you, Rick. Tampa Bay, the reigning Eastern Conference champions, returns home and during a very difficult stretch through their first 20, a game below 500. They've dropped 7 out of 10. But if you want encouragement, you need but turn to the New York Rangers, who are in a near identical state exactly a year ago. Like the Bolts, slow out of the gate. They had played in the Stanley Cup Finals the previous year. They had a 1-loss mark at this point of 7-7-4 and have been embarrassed by Tampa Bay, losing 5-1. Yet they kept their focus, their confidence. Henrik Lundqvist got hot. They surged to 53 wins, a franchise record 113 points, and captured the President's Trophy and a run to the Eastern Conference Final against Tampa Bay. It can be done. Just look at the Rangers and the Lightning looking to launch a reversal of fortune against New York tonight with Rick and Brian on the call.
Tampa Bay Lightning hockey at Fox Sports Sun is presented by your Tampa Bay area BMW centers. Always a lot of anticipation for this matchup here at Amalie Arena, Rangers Lightning. As we have a look at our starting netminders, brought to you by Papa John's.
Ben Bishop is 16 start. He's 6'7" and 2, 918 save percentage. And Henrik Lundqvist, it's his 15th start. He is 10, 2 and 2, the 947 save percentage.
The officials for this game as Mark Lemelin is number 41. Jean Hebert working with him. Shane Heyer, Mark Shuchik are the linesmen. And John Cooper having a word with both referees.
I'm not sure what that conversation is all about, but John Cooper's team is pretty banged up. He's got 3 or 4 guys out of the lineup. Alain Vigneault, everything has gone swimmingly. They have 9 straight wins. They're looking for their 10th straight to tie a franchise record.
Joel Vermeen is in the Lightning lineup, just brought up yesterday from the Syracuse Crunch. Today, the Lightning brought up Luke Witkowski, defenseman we've seen before. There's Joel. He's 23 years old from Switzerland, 7th round pick 2013, and was tied with Anthony DeAngelo for the scoring lead with the Crunch at 10 points in the early going. And also Mike Angelidis, who is a healthy scratch as Cooper elects to go with 7 defensemen and 11 forwards, as he did Monday night in the 1-0 loss in South Florida to the Panthers. But actually the Lightning have brought up 6 players in the last week with Matt Termina in that group. He's been returned to the Crunch with Witkowski coming up to play on defense. Jonathan Marchessault, one of those call-ups, and he gets the start with Alex Killorn and Valtteri Filppula on the line that begins the game. Here's Filppula, and the puck get away from him. Matt Zuccarello gets it out to center.
I really like the way Marchessault played in Florida the other night. He got a little less than 10 minutes in the game, but he used that great speed of his, the quickness, he created some offense.
J.T. Brown on the left side with Brian Boyle in center. Eric Condra on right wing. Condra swings by to knock the puck in the Rangers zone, and it's Mark Stahl hounded in there by Condra. Chris Kreider on left wing, across for Kevin Klein, and he's bumped by Brown. Boyle lays it back to Anton Stralman. 2 members of that Ranger team that reached the Stanley Cup Finals a couple of years ago. Victor Hedman shooting, and it's tipped away at the defense by Dan Girardi. Stralman hangs in there to hold the play in the zone. Lightning in the meantime getting fresh bodies on the ice. Vlad Namestnikov joins the fray. Edmonds back. Steven Stamkos on with Namestnikov, and now Nikita Kucherov's able to come on the ice. 11 shots on goal for this trio against the Panthers. Those shut out Monday night. Here comes Kucherov. Starts it in. Wrists it toward the net. It's handled by Lundqvist. Hoping for a tip, and both Stamkos and Namestnikov were trying to oblige him. As we look at the keys to the game, brought to you by Southern Ford Dealers.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have to have a win 1-0 mentality. They haven't been able to score much, and the New York Rangers have. They got to hold them off the scoreboard and shoot from everywhere. A lot of new faces in the lineup for Tampa Bay, so the passing maybe not as smooth as it might otherwise be, so just shoot the puck from everywhere.
Lightning win the draw. Here's Kucherov turning, firing, and it's blocked. Stamkos for Namestnikov. Namestnikov and Kucherov 5 goals apiece, second on the team to Stamkos' 9. Out comes Derek Brassard. Wheels into the Lightning zone. Pass for Nash was broken up as Braden Coburn there defensively. Here's Stamkos to Kucherov. Turns it back. Coburn is covered there by Kevin Klein.
Kucherov really passed up a good chance to shoot the puck. There are 1 too many passes again. They've got to be in a shooting mode more than that.
Keith Yandel, long pass ahead for Oscar Lindberg, who made this team out of training camp. 24-year-old Swede who played the last 2 years in Hartford of the American Hockey League, the Ranger affiliate. And Victor Stahlberg nearly stealing that puck, but a very desperate Andre Schuster got it away from him. Pass out for Mike Blunden. He, of course, making his season debut along with Marchessault Monday. And over the weekend for the Lightning, as it's Joel Vermeen, number 47, out there now in his first shift in the NHL. J.T. Miller pokes the puck in the Lightning zone. Witkowski coming across for it. Around for Blunden. Derek Stepan with a try, and it's deflected by Miller wide. Kreider back to Miller, back to Kreider. Bounced off his skate. Blunden gets it out. He's forced to the boards by Kreider. Stepan returns in that Lightning zone. Bishop cut off the pass. Matt Carl ahead for Mike London. 28 years old. He'll turn 29 in a couple of weeks. So a lot of the guys called up. Obviously, Vermeen, a youngster at 23. Here's Killorn for the Lightning. Swings around the net, turns. His shot was sticked away by Ryan McDonough. But the other players brought up, by and large, veterans. Angelita's 30 years old. Witkowski's been up before, so they know the deal at this level.
The Lightning are going to have real quick feet in their own zone. For my money, the New York Rangers, this year especially, the fastest team. Constant movement in the offensive zone. If you stand still, you won't be able to catch up to them if you're reacting to them and their passing plays inside your end.
Puck work to Jesper Fast in that corner, and it was lifted away from him by Valtteri Filppula. Fast gets it back. Checked by Jason Garrison. Jarrett Stoll spins off a check. Here's Dominic Moore, the ex-Lightning forward. Beats the point. Yandel with a crowd in front. That shot was blocked by Filppula. Out comes Marchessault. Killorn with him. Back to Marchessault. Defending was Yandel. Marchessault has it. He's checked by Klein. Keith Yandel, picked up at the trade deadline last year from Arizona. Relieved of the puck here by Braden Coburn. Stamkos arrives. It's poked to center.
Really good flow to this game. When you don't have many whistles early on, it gets everybody in. You get some line changes on the fly. Everybody touches the puck.
Coburn shooting, and it's handled by Henrik Lundqvist.
Let's watch some of the good breakouts that the Lightning have had so far in this game. That's going to be really important. Get to the puck. Hedman, who's one of the best in the game. And look at that little underneath play to Kucherov. That is outstanding stuff. Create room and time for yourself. And then on the next one, Stamkos will get the puck on left side of your screen. He gets it to Kucherov. Look where Kucherov is. I know he's being closed down upon there. He heard voices from behind him. But when he came back to the bench, Steve Thomas, assistant coach, went, "Cooch, shoot the puck."
Stamkos on the face-off. It's controlled by Brassard. McDonough off the ledge of the boards, comes bouncing through center. Controlled now by Hedman. Stamkos at center, watched by Nash. The two snipers checking each other as the Lightning enter the zone. Kucherov with a quick stop. Now to Schuster, gets organized, fires, and he sends it over the net. Zuccarello over there for it, challenged by Hedman. Picked up by Kucherov. Can't get a shot away. Brassard picked his pocket. Or pardon me, Zuccarello. Schuster at center. On with Hedman. Lightning spread out the ice time among 7 defensemen against the Panthers on Monday. Here's Schuster with a pass ahead for Boyle. He'll launch it in deep in the Rangers zone. Brown right on his man, Dan Boyle. Ryan Boyle playing it back to the goal. And Victor Stahlberg, well-traveled veteran winger, playing it back of the net. Rangers have it. Long lead pass for Kevin Hayes out of his reach, and icing is the result.
Hey, Bolts fans, we're looking for you to be the DJ tonight. That's right.
A Little Caesars Family Fun Pack scores you 4 tickets, 4 pizzas, 4 ice creams, and 4 sodas or waters for select Saturday and Sunday games. Packages start as low as $100. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com.
Well, with a couple of guys called up in the American League, John Cooper is really going to be line matching and watching closely. At least he has that advantage of being at home. He's got London, Marchessault, and Vermeen in the lineup, as well as Witkowski. He's got to be able to use them, but he doesn't want to get him out there against a big-time mismatch. He will also be looking to see how effective they are when they're out there. Are they getting pucks deep and in the offensive zone or in their end?
Here's a shot by Coburn. It's gloved by Lundqvist as Strawman set his defense partner in for that opportunity. No score here early on.
Newest member of the Bolts, newest skater in the National Hockey League at the age of 23. Joel Vermeen in his NHL debut for Tampa Bay tonight. In the 2013 draft, that's the one remembered for Jonathan Drouin being taken 3rd overall. Steve Yzerman also reached deep into the final round, 186th. And selected from the Swiss A-League, Joel Vermeen, who spent all of last year with Syracuse, here taking his very first shift of his NHL tenure tonight. He called it a dream come true following this morning's skate when he talked to the media. As you say, Rick and Brian, he is in the book now, playing in the National Hockey League, improbably as a 7th-round selection. And Andre Palat, was he not a 7th-round pick as well?
He was indeed. So is Henrik Lundqvist, for that matter, back in 2000. Hard to believe that would be the case, but you could certainly find some gold in that 7th round.
Joel Vermeen had a very good training camp. He's got a lot of quickness. He was on the puck everywhere, and that's got everybody's attention.
Miller, step on. Yandel fires, a save by Bishop.
Ben Bishop being pretty aggressive there, too. Gives a little shot to Chris Kreider, who's known as a crease scratcher as well. Little shot by Ben Bishop after he made the save, but nice little one-touch pass from Stepan to Yandel, stepping in from the blue line. Puck was barely kept in at the blue line. The Lightning were wondering if, in fact, it was a legal play. Here's the little touch pass, and what a great scoring opportunity that was for Yandel. Big save for Ben Bishop, who came out and challenged.
Stamkos, Brassard facing off the two number 1 centerman. It comes back to Girardi for the Rangers. Lost the handle. Kucherov angles it out. And Nemestikov speeds after that puck. Zuccarello getting back. Nemestikov to Kucherov. Stamkos shoots. Stick saved by Lundqvist. Good opportunities for this line early. It's tapped to Garrison. He backs off with Brassard there, and also Nash. Nash roaring and shooting, and it's handled by Bishop. The whistle blows.
Well, we always talk about the balance between being aggressive and giving up things, but let's go back to the breakout here. Smart play by Kucherov off the glass. Nemestikov puts the Rangers in jeopardy by putting pressure on him. They keep the puck inside the zone with the help of Kucherov, and then watch this nifty little pass. That's what I was talking about before the game started. The feel for the open ice. Stamkos looks at the ice the same way Kucherov does. Where's the open ice? I'll get there, and he'll get it to me.
Pass down low. Stallberg negated on the hit by Schuster. Brian Boyle will take it. London trying to push it the rest of the way. The size on this line. London goes 6'4", 217. Boyle, we know, 6'7", 244. Joel Vermeen at 5'10", 187. And the whistle blows on an offside called against the Rangers. So Vermeen pretty well protected on this line.
Stamkos and Kucherov think the game the same way. A lot of times players will look at their own teammates and literally watch them when they have the puck. Like, what are they going to do? What's his next move? When you play with guys with super skill like that, the idea is not to watch them. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on them a little bit, but you have to look at the ice. Go to the open ice. That's where the big-time plays are made, and that's what Stamkos and Kucherov figured out about each other right off the bat.
Puck dribbles in wide of Lundqvist. He's out to handle it, using the glass to clear it out. Luke Witkowski up for 16 games, his first 16 in the NHL last season. Yandel, good play to hold it in for the Rangers. Looking to make a play. His pass was deflected by Kadri. Recovered by Stoll. Hedman takes charge down low. Jared Stoll covering up at the point. The longtime member of the LA Kings, both their cup teams. Fired out in front by Boyle, and it's deflected away from Yandel. Yandel with the shot. Saved by Bishop with traffic in front. Fired along the goal line by Dominic Moore, and Bishop took that one off the right arm. Rangers keep the pressure on. Klein shooting. Bishop a save. His stick is behind the net. Moore trying to get it on goal. It's controlled though by Condra. He'll play it softly out, trying to avoid icing. He did so, and Bishop now has his stick. Deflected in by Moore off the glass, and it contacted the netting on a play.
That was the first extended time by the Rangers inside the Lightning zone. Ben Bishop ended up with the stick in behind the net. He got it tied up with a couple players. Right here, he makes the save, and it gets in between the legs of Jesper Fast. And so he had to play the next several seconds without it. So he was down on his knees more often than he otherwise would be, which is the best thing a goaltender can do when he doesn't have a stick.
Alex Killorn double teamed at the line, unable to get it in deep. Keeps battling against Stahl. Step on, playing it ahead. It ends up with Stralman. Stroman on for the moment with Matt Carl. Pass picked off by Miller. And Carl effectively stopped him at the line, and the play results in an offside. Lightning fans, you can now book a group of 10 or more people, get the best seats, the best prices by calling 813-301-6900 or visiting TampaBayLightning.com to reserve your group experience.
Alain Vigneault didn't mess around when he talked about this game. He talked about Game 7 last year, the game that the Tampa Bay Lightning won to move on, and the Rangers season was at an end. He wants to see his players react to that. Even though they've won 9 games straight, they're off to a terrific start this season. He was not letting off the gas pedal. He didn't want to hear about the Lightning and their injuries and not being able to score or any of that stuff. He is pushing his guys really hard. When you lose in a Game 7 like that, that feel, that taste never goes away. A couple of the players talked about that too. They'll remember it forever.
Rangers have been off since Sunday, so they've had 3 days off. And they'll play the Panthers next year as the Rangers winning 9 in a row, one off the club record that was set in 1939-40. The team ended up winning the Stanley Cup and then equaled in 1972-73. That team lost in the semifinals.
You know, it's extraordinary, Rick. So far this season, these two teams have exactly the same number of first period shots, 173. The Rangers have 21 goals. The Lightning have 9.
Certainly a head scratcher from the Tampa Bay side. They put more pucks on the net last year, not a lot more, but certainly found the net a tremendous amount more than they have this year. But neither team up there in terms of shots on goal, but the Rangers shooting percentage is much higher. Obviously, they're 4th in offense. Stamkos had it slapped away by Nash. Coburn back to Stamkos. Works against Zuccarello, dives out, trips him up. He's going for a penalty. Delayed call upcoming. Lightning with Vermeen on. Back to Carl. Over for Schuster. 6 skaters on. Puck deflects to Carl. Looks toward the net. Fires. Lundqvist the save, and he hangs on with Vermeen out in front. And Zuccarello, though he's arguing the call, will head off with the game's first penalty. Much Michelle. As the Lightning with Zuccarello off for tripping have the power play at 10-12 of the first period. Great chance for the Lightning to get that first strike in, Brian.
That was Steven Stamkos moving his feet that caused Zuccarello to dive at him and knock his feet out from underneath him.
So we had a power play opportunity for the Lightning who have Stamkos, Marchessault, and Nemestikov up front. Kucherov and Stroman work behind them. Lightning are missing, obviously long-term, Andre Palat, another 2 to 4 weeks. And we'll run down the others, including Ryan Callahan, day-to-day with a lower body injury. Missed practice yesterday and ruled out earlier today of playing in this game against his former team. Stroman at center. Lundqvist out to get to that puck. Has time to fire it off the glass. Hits Stroman, backed up by Marchessault. Marchessault in the slot. Was hooked there by Stepan, and it looks like they're both going. I think we're going to have an embellishment penalty involved here.
Well, Marchessault was moving through the slot area. Stepan did get his stick up on his hands. There's the hooking call. And it's got to be an embellishment call. You couldn't hear it very easily. Bottom of your screen, there's Marchessault. Because he put his hands in the air a little bit, I think that's what got the referee wondering whether in fact he was trying to make that look worse than it really was. And we'll still have a 5-on-4 situation, both guys off.
Now Nemestikov comes in now with Vermeen getting a shot on this power play. The faceoff controlled, though, by Stoll. That was certainly part of his stock and trade with the Kings. Puck played back, and Girardi checked in the corner by Vermeen. He's in there digging. Stepan for hooking, Marchessault for embellishment at 10:54. Worked along, Stamkos gets to that puck. Stroman up top. Vermeen has time to turn, and he was looking to pass to Stamkos. It's played out by Stoll.
Pretty good smart play by Stoll. Vermeen was on his backhand when it comes to shooting. Stoll, I think, was guessing, well, he probably passed, and he guessed right.
Kucherov. Now to Strawman. Here's a shot by Stamkos. Rips it wide with 30 seconds to go in the power play.
You have to play the odds, especially when you're killing a penalty. Jared Stoll's been around the block, Rick, as you talked about. When Vermeen got on his backhand, a lot of guys don't like to take that backhand shot. They'll either try to flip it onto their own forehand or pass it to somebody else who is on their forehand. Stoll read that and broke the play.
Hedman waiting for Filppula to get back on side. They'll try the entry again to Garrison down the boards. Boyle on this unit. Trying to get the puck his way. It's out of his reach. Out of the box. Zuccarello lurking at center. Klein with a pass ahead. And it's Dominic Moore swinging in. Hangs on to it. Going to the net. Chipped it on goal. Bishop to stop. He covers it up.
Well, Dominic Moore was smart there because Zuccarello would come out of the penalty box and he'd pushed Victor Hedman back. So Hedman couldn't gap up. So look how far back Hedman is. He has to stand his ground but doesn't have any backward momentum. That's what the smart part of the play by Moore was. He just turns it on, protects the puck, realizes that Hedman's going to have to reach in and try to prevent him from getting to the front of the net. Hedman, because of his size and his strength, was able to prevent Moore from getting there. Anybody smaller or of lesser skill probably would have let Moore get right to the net and right across the crease and get a scoring chance. So that was a good job by Hedman under difficult circumstances.
Conrad starts it in, checked by Nash. Brassard bringing it back. He had a terrific series against the Lightning without Zuccarello at his disposal to use as a winger. 8 points in the 7-game series. Here's Brassard handing it off. In front, it's guided by Nash. Blocked in front there. Schuster parked in front of Bishop trying to help out. He's locked up there with Zuccarello. Puck worked free and Coburn has it. J.T. Brown to center for the Lightning. He'll lift it in. Trying to speed through as Boyle cut him off. And Brown still able to get in on Yandle. Rick Nash lifts it out to center. It's handled there by Carl as we've still got Yandle and Brown. And now Boyle coming back to throw a shot at Brown. And that will bring about the penalties.
Well, we've seen J.T. Brown do stuff like this a lot. I mean, it's part of what he does. You get in, you get physical. If somebody wants to talk about it, hey, you talk about it in a physical way. Brown's going to draw a penalty here. It looks like Dan Boyle will as well. Boyle came in second, but Brown makes contact. They're missing guys like Paquette in the lineup who have that physical presence. Brown's not messing around there. He gets in on Yandle. Look at that, just a bulldog on a pork chop there. That's the way you're supposed to play when you get in on the offense and get in on the forecheck. Yandle didn't like it, and he wants to try and resist Brown doing it. And there's a look at Dan Boyle in the penalty box, and he's still yapping at Brown, and vice versa.
That's quite a discussion. Brown standing up in the Lightning box. They're still on their skates and talking it over.
Perfect. I think J.T. Brown does that so well, and he draws other people into the fray. Sometimes you need that. In a game like this, there's emotion between these two teams because of their history, especially last year in the playoffs.
Each get roughing, and so it's 4-on-4 hockey as the other penalties to step on and Marchessault expiring. And here comes Kreider. His shot was blocked by Garrison. Kreider follows Garrison right to the corner. Step on. Wheels with it. Garrison staying with him. Stepan looking. Finds Kreider. They've got Girardi down low in front of the Lightning net. Paired off with Stamkos. And McDonough had it worked away. Great stick work by Bishop. And once again on Stepan. Kreider swings it for the angle. Firing. Bishop leaning over. Made the save with McDonough. The Ranger captain parked on the edge of his crease, and Ben Bishop holding off the Rangers here. Just under 6 minutes to go in a scoreless first period.
Plays from behind the net and wraparounds are not a goaltender's favorite. Ben Bishop is really good at handling wraparounds because of that. His stick is really good. We've seen him do that 8 or 10 times, I'll bet, already in this fairly young season. That attempted wraparound there, that was not going to happen. McDonough coming out, wants to get a chance to either make a play by himself or pass it out in front. Ben Bishop uses that stick as well as anybody in that situation. It helps himself out, it helps his defenseman out, and causes turnovers so that his teammates can get them. Look at the record he has in the regular season against the New York Rangers. He has had their number. He wants to continue that here tonight.
And the key stat of the postseason is the 2 shutouts to the far right in games 5 and 7 at Madison Square Garden to close out that series. Here's Yandle with a shot deflected. And it comes right up to Coburn. Killorn gets things under control. Filppula. The puck worked away. Now J.T. Miller stirring things up in that Lightning zone. And finally Killorn escapes. Here in this 4-on-4 continuing. 50 seconds to go on the penalties to Brown and Boyle. J.T. Miller now with Filppula taking over. Schuster at the blue line, bobbled and kept it on the line. And the Lightning with it. Killorn walks in. He shoots. Scores! And the Lightning open the scoring at 14:47.
Well, the New York Rangers try to fly the zone with their forwards, and watch as Yandle tries to make a long pass. Filppula picks it right out of the air. You see how the 2 Ranger forwards are caught out of the zone? Now it's a 2-on-2. The defensemen are caught trying to gap up for the Rangers, but see, they can't get up on the play very far. Killorn just pulls it in tight to his body and snaps that puck. It was rolling a little bit, but boy, did he ever got a lot of steam on that. But outstanding eye-hand coordination and the read of the play by by Filppula knocking out of the air allowed them some time and room to work on that goal. And boy, that's a big goal early in the game for the Lightning, who've had trouble scoring in first periods.
Brian, was there confusion on the offside there because the one linesman indicated Schuster kept it in? Here's Kucherov cutting in, and he couldn't get a clean shot as he was checked from behind, cutting toward the net there by Stahl.
Right after a goal is scored, a lot of times the team backs up a little. The New York Rangers get caught here, not moving very fast in the neutral zone. Look at the puck movement, and the defense are spread apart. Kucherov gets a chance, and just as he has his head up trying to look for it, Hedman, one of the best in the game at hitting that seam in the middle. Kucherov is hit just enough by Mark Stahl that he's knocked off balance, loses control of the puck at the last moment, and can't make the play that he wants.
Filppula the only assist on that goal, but at one point Killorn gave up on the play down low and felt he had to tag up, in which they came out of the zone and then started it back in. So I saw one linesman wave or indicate that the play was onside. I didn't see that the other one indicated that it was offside, delayed offside, but the Lightning end up coming back out and scoring as Killorn re-entered. And here's the drive that's deflected out as Klein let that go.
Yeah, the Rangers were complaining a little bit after. Let's take a look and see how Filppula knocks this puck down. He knocks it down inside the zone, keeps it in. Killorn clears the area.
Yeah, prior to that, the earlier play where Schuster was at the blue line.
Okay.
And it was juggled on the line, and the linesman at the far boards waved that it was good, but then all of a sudden, Killorn felt like he had to leave the zone, and it looked like the Rangers would have that free exit, but then they turned it over. Lightning moving ahead to Condra. Condra getting to the red line. He'll push it in with Brian Boyle in that zone, and that play is whistled offside.
Let's take a look at the play leading up to the one we just saw. The bouncing puck, Schuster keeps it on the line, and that does not go out over the line. The linesman right behind him, I believe, is the one who went like safe. It's okay. He kept it inside, so the play went on from there.
And you saw Killorn turn and start heading out to center ice like he had to tag up, but it ended up leading to the goal. So
perfect timing.
Absolutely. Have to throw that in the playbook. Stahl bottled up by J.T. Brown. Carl trying to find Brown down low. Shrugs off a check. Lightning with control with Condra working down low. Brown obviously getting under the Rangers' skin.
And it was Boyle again. It was Boyle that he beat to the puck there to stop that icing.
Here's Nash from the angle shooting, and a blocker save down low by Ben Bishop. Nash tricky coming out the other side. And he comes off with Girardi shooting. That's kicked away by Garrison. Stepan with it. McDonough tried the quick release, fanned on the shot, but he had help coming from the bench in J.T. Miller. Carl steps in there with Kreider. He's challenged by Garrison. And Carl with the puck knocked down by Stepan and finally chopped out by Brian Boyle.
Good play by Boyle. At some point, you just got to hack it out of there. They tried to make a couple of plays. They said the Rangers are very quick in the offensive zone. Looking for plays is really difficult sometimes. If you spend a long time in your own end, just get it and hack it out of there and get a line change. J.T. Brown was outstanding on his last forecheck again, too. He nullified an icing. He got in on Dan Boyle again. He's getting under the helmet of Dan Boyle. Boyle was not happy with him again. They were pushing and shoving at each other. J.T. Brown having a very effective first period.
Boyle has been sat out on occasion by the Rangers, in part to rest him at front end or back ends of back-to-backs, but also Dylan McIlrath, the young defenseman, getting more of an opportunity. Filppula leading it. Marchessault out in front. Getting it down to Schuster with the shot. It's wide as Filppula was dumped and he slid right into the lap of Lundqvist. Schuster watched by Hayes. Killorn turns it around. It was Alex Killorn who got the eventual game winner in that third period in Game 7 against the Rangers. This shot tipped into the netting by McDonough.
Oh, it was a great shot that he scored on in this game here, and getting a first period goal so big for the Lightning. He only had one goal in his last 19 games for Killorn, but he didn't make any mistake on that chance that he got early on here, and getting a little positive momentum here and getting ahead on the scoreboard, which has been so difficult to do, has the Lightning leaning into this game instead of falling back and just defending.
Moore wins that face-off for the Rangers, but Blunden right there along the boards, walks in, fires, save, rebound, and Lundqvist to stop there. Mike Blunden from a sharp angle testing Henrik Lundqvist, the league leader in goals against and save percentage coming in, but the Lightning, in beating him 3 times last year, he left that regular season series with a goals against average of 4.74 and 823 save percentage. The Lightning literally lit him up. Here's Strahl with a shot. It's knocked away by Garrison. With it, it's Moore. Line beating it back to Moore. Lively Karam centers off Bishop's stick as Witkowski took down his man Foss side of the goal. Vermin slips in. Vermin shooting. Saved by Lundqvist.
Oh, nice little play by Vermin. Really on the puck. That's what I talked about in training camp that really caught your eye. Great quickness there. He moved to the open spot, and while he was moving away from the net, shot back in the opposite direction. A real dangerous shot.
Shots are 10-7 Lightning. Puck deflected down the ice with Hedman looking over his shoulder. Lindberg is after him. Lindberg, one of the top scoring rookies so far in the NHL this season.
Let's take a look at Joel Vermin and that quickness in the neutral zone. When you can put defensemen under pressure and under stress, it can give you some good scoring chances. See, he just whacks it, follows it down, knocks it ahead. He's got 2 guys converging on him, and look at the quickness with which he got the shot away, too. That one was on target, and it made Lundqvist make a tough save.
Vermin, 12 goals, 33 points in the American League last year, his first-year pro. Hedman rifles the pass back to Nemestikov. Steps into that Ranger zone. Here's Strawman shooting, and it's ripped over the net with under a minute to go in this period. The pass to Nash. He was in the clear. Hands it off to Brassard. Shooting, and Strawman recovered to get a stick on that. With a pass behind Rick Nash, he was in alone on Bishop.
Exactly. That's a quick transition game. The play started, though, with Strawman coming up on the play. Strawman gets an offensive chance, but he's moving too fast. This is the end of it. because Strawman's caught on the play, but he's able to loop back up and catch up to Rick Nash when the pass ends up in his feet. Originally, though, Strawman, who has been very aggressive offensively over the last many games, and for most of the year, really, when he moved up offensively, he moved into trouble too quickly, didn't give himself a chance to make a pass or a shot.
Schuster working with Coburn. Pass out to Marchessault. He'll guide it into the attacking zone. Mark Stahl backboard, hounded in there by Filppula. Worked free. Recovered though by Kreider. He's bumped right out of there by Marchessault. Bouncing puck. Kreider trying to get to it. Bishop will cover it up. 19.5 seconds to go in the period.
Let's go back to the Strawman play, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Nemesnikov on the rush. He'll take the zone on the right side of your screen. He's going to stop up and hit Strawman. Now, Strawman's coming in. This is slow motion. He needs to judge his distance a little better. Come in a little slower and use the distance in between. He ran right into the check, and then Rick Nash is flying the zone as soon as he sees that his own Ranger defensemen are touching the puck. It's about timing. You have to use the space that's given to you and don't rush it.
Puck deflects to Brian Boyle. Lightning get control here with 13 seconds before the intermission. Condra trying to move that puck to center. It's held in by the Rangers. They get it down to Nash. Occupied by Carl. Lightning keep that puck safely along the boards. And there's the horn. Condra took one last bruise for blocking that shot by Derek Brassard. But the Lightning on the goal by Killorn. The outstanding goaltending of Bishop. Outshoot the Rangers 10-7. Lead 1-0. Stay tuned for the Gulf Coast Honda Dealers first intermission report, as Killorn will visit with Paul Kennedy outside the Lightning room. The Chief, Bobby Taylor, joining Paul on the desk. We'll have more from social media night with Michelle Gingras. So highlights and stats also coming your way here between periods. Tampa Bay Lightning hockey at Fox Sports Sun is presented by your Tampa Bay area BMW centers. Well, a few new players have to learn the routine coming out for the next period at Amalie Arena as the Lightning get lined up, leading 1-0. Want to win an autographed puck signed by a member of your 2015-16 Tampa Bay Lightning? Just text SUN to 61873 to join our Insider Text Club. You'll also receive breaking news, special offers, and more. Lightning with this lead and doing a good job. And Brian, what's that football coach Bill Belichick say? Just do your job? How do you think the Lightning did that in that first 20 minutes?
I think they did a great job. Chief put together a nice package which showed a lot of the first line doing what they do best, creating some offense. But it was guys like J.T. Brown, I thought, did a terrific job as well. His job is to get in and spend time in the offensive zone, to pound people around, get under their skin, turn some pucks over, and see what can happen. There he fights and nullifies an icing. That would have gone back into his own end. He stays up against Boyle, gets under Boyle's skin, makes him angry, comes right back. Here's the big hit. Yandel turns around on him. He doesn't like it. Boyle's going to come in afterwards and give him a shove, and both Brown and Boyle are going to end up in the penalty box. They started jawing at each other afterwards. That kind of stuff draws everybody into the fray. This is an emotional game already because of what happened in the playoffs last year between the Rangers and the Lightning. The Lightning are in a come-from-behind situation here because of where they are in the standings and because they have so many new guys in the lineup tonight. I thought he did a really good job in that first period.
Well, here are tonight's first period stats brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
See, not a lot of scoring chances. Only 4 for the Lightning, but only 2 for the New York Rangers. One of the keys, they said, to this game was have the mentality of winning this game 1-0. New York Rangers have won 9 games in a row. They're 14-2-2 on the season. Everything has been going right for them. The Lightning have not been able to score goals. So you got to have that 1-0 mentality. And I want to correct myself, Rick. I said 1 goal in 19 games for Killorn. I can't even read my own writing. It's 1 goal in 14 games. I'm either going to have to write bigger or get a sharper crayon. I'm not sure.
Well, Alex might tell you it might feel like 19 games, but he's on the board again against a team that has been stung by him in the past. The New York Rangers, as we're underway, the Lightning want to play in the Rangers zone to start this second period. Derek Brassard lugs it out to center. Zuccarello just swings it back into the Lightning zone, and we'll get an icing call.
Well, the momentum that the Stamkos line created early on in the first period, I thought was really dramatic. And it really had the Rangers backing off a lot. Stamkos had the puck a lot. His breakouts were good. We showed a couple of those. He and Kucherov moved the puck well. Namestnikov getting in on pucks, on the forecheck. Everybody doing their job on that line, too. Created some really good offense.
Nash ahead for Zuccarello, and he bats the puck ahead with a high stick, but the Lightning are the next to control. We keep moving, and it's Stahl backing it out. Stralman over for Victor Hedman, guided to the line, but now the Rangers turn it right back to Kreider. Nice move. Stralman didn't buy the second move, though. Probably seen a few of those in practice a couple of years ago. Namestnikov takes on Girardi. Takes a look, and all he saw were white uniforms. The Lightning were changing up ice. Stamkos now joins him. Back to the point to Garrison. In front, it's tipped just wide by Marchessault. He was trying to elude Ryan McDonagh. Off to a very sharp +13 start to his season.
And what you said about Namestnikov looking up and all he could see was white jerseys, Rick, one of the things he's done so well is as the Lightning play it back to Ben Bishop, and he's able to cover it up so that they can get a whistle. Let's go back to Stralman for a minute, one-on-one against Kreider. He doesn't have much backward speed, so he knows he's in trouble. Stralman does. When he misses the initial poke check, he knows what Kreider is up to. When you get turned around and have the guy with your back to the player you're playing against, it's not a good position for Stralman. But Stralman is smart enough to feel out the situation and steal that puck from Kreider before he can get a scoring position with the puck.
Brian Boyle wins that faceoff cleanly. Schuster's pass taken over. Stallberg sends it wide as Boyle reached in with a stick to disrupt the shot. Condred center. Leading it at the line. It was knocked down by Yandel. He turns to gather in the puck. Brian Boyle standing right there. Rangers do finally work it out, but not very far, and Klein will control. It's tipped from the red line by Kevin Hayes. Seen his brother Jimmy skating for the Bruins now, of course, formerly with the Panthers. Out ahead for Brian Boyle at center, and he'll guide it in deep in the Ranger zone. Lundqvist. Condra had read his intentions, could gather in the puck though, but he'll pressure Yandel. And he missed his man Dominic Moore, closely watched by Witkowski, who makes sure he won that race for the icing call.
Well, things are not always going to go smoothly when you're trying to come out of your own zone. Brian Boyle knows that. He was the man in front of the net. Schuster's going to try and give him a nice little pass in front. They practice this all the time. Use the front of the net in order to break out, because sometimes it's the only play. Well, Stallberg made a really nice play to intercept, and Brian Boyle made a better one, realizing that he wasn't going to get the puck, and he knocked the puck off of Stallberg's stick.
Stoll and Filppula on the face-off. The Rangers get control. Jesper Fast, so impressive as a rookie last year for the Rangers, will fire it in. Bishop slows it down. Witkowski checked by Stoll. London has to circle back to help out the effort. Down goes Witkowski. His stick went back toward the Lightning net. Vermeen cuts away from the traffic. Filppula throwing it across ice, and it's intercepted by Fast. Nash hops on it. Witkowski gets a piece of him. Filppula leading it for Luke Witkowski. Out ahead for Blunden. Got it to Filppula. 2-on-1 with Vermeen. Vermeen cuts in, waits, shoots, and it's blocked after the fence by Dan Boyle. Zuccarello picks it up. Boy, Lightning fans are going to flash back. Here's Nash leaning in, double teamed, still with a puck. Playing it back to Zuccarello, who rejoins the zone out in front. Brassard couldn't get it settled down for the shot. Girardi fires. It's tipped on goal by Zuccarello, and Bishop saw that coming, makes the save. I was going to say, Lightning fans remember Nikita Kucherov's debut. And it was a couple of Thanksgivings ago against the Rangers, and he scored on his first shot on net, his first NHL goal. And Joel Vermeen in his first game in the NHL would love to do the same thing. Here's Miller. Fans on the shot. Namestnikov gets rid of it. Turning at center, it's Miller. First rounder from 2011 by the Rangers. He stays on Strawman. Puck played back to Yandel. Fires in front. Kreider couldn't get loaded up for the backhand there as Carl reached in there, and Stamkos back for it. Carl spins the pass ahead for the waiting Nemestikov, joined by Kucherov. Kucherov spins off his encounter with Miller. Line back for New York. He's got Yandel down that left side. Fumbled the puck for a moment. Schuster stepped in there to knock it out of his grasp. Coburn ahead for Marchessault, and the Rangers changing. He tried to take advantage of that, but the pass just behind him wins the puck down low. Couldn't spin in front against the much bigger Kevin Hayes. And here's Marchessault shooting, and he chips it over the net. Filppula to the point. Coburn fires, and Lundqvist the stop with no rebound.
Let's go way back to a couple of the new fresh faces in the lineup. Witkowski being one. Under pressure here. Look at him here. Control the puck and make sure he gets the puck out of the zone. That's where it starts. Then Vermeen will be up on the play in a little 2-on-1. Watch Vermeen come across. Be patient. Be patient. Hold on. Hold on. And at the last second, he just missed his shot. That was really good stuff all up until the end. That one has to get through to the net. Obviously, it doesn't. Quick feet there by Boyle. Give him a little credit there. But Vermeen under pressure and Witkowski under pressure, making good plays for the Lightning.
Condra to Brown. His shot was punched away by Girardi reaching in there. Fost has it for the Rangers. He is decked by Witkowski. Of course, he brings that physical element to the Lightning defense. Penalty minute leader in Syracuse last year, Girardi. Playing it back to the corner to McDonough. Moving it to Fost. He'll sail it out for Dominic Moore, who can get a hold of that bouncing puck. It's Witkowski. Lightning with Boyle. Firing glove save by Lundqvist.
Big glove save by Henrik Lundqvist there. Brian Boyle on the attack, but you got to be able to play strong in the neutral zone. And the Lightning do a good job of moving the puck through there in a nice little bunt back pass from Condra to Brian Boyle, who's coming in on a good timing pattern. GMC shows you Henrik Lundqvist's record the last 6 games. Look at those numbers.
That's our big matchup. He's been so good this year in every situation. He's given up 2 goals or less in 9 straight road games. And his team will get the benefit of a power play here as Rick Nash was taken down by Garrison. And the Lightning will be shorthanded for the first time tonight.
Well, the Rangers are trying to fly the zone. Rick Nash does that a lot. As soon as they touch the puck, Garrison was back with them. And then this is a battle for a loose puck, but Garrison's going to get a penalty for holding, I believe.
Tampa number 5, 2 minutes holding.
Garrison stays inside him. Uses his leverage there to put him down. Oh, I think Rick Nash could have ended up with a 2 on that one too. He made that one look pretty good. That's just good one-on-one battle there, but Garrison's the one in the box.
And Garrison's hands remained on his stick that whole time, but the Rangers get the benefit of the call. Step on to McDonough, firing, and it's deflected off Filppula wide, came in front, the shot, and a save by Bishop! Zuccarello robbed there at the goal line as Bishop dove across, and he had some help from Stroman behind him.
Zuccarello can't believe he didn't get that one over Ben Bishop. An outstanding save by Bishop reading the play. This is a set pattern. Off to the wing, back into the middle, the immediate shot. Zuccarello will come from the left side of your screen eventually and try to pick up the loose change. Here he comes in, there's the chance, and Ben Bishop dives across.
Brown gets it from the face-off, and he'll wrist it down the ice. Boy, he took a hit from Zuccarello, and Brown's got everybody's attention on that Ranger bench. Here's McDonough, ahead for a step on. Dropping it back, pressured by Brown. Hedman there as well. He'll send it back. Rangers 18.6%. If you want to point to one area where they're rather middle of the road, it's the power play. And the Lightning on the kill now, up over 80% of steal. Condra had it poked away. McDonough breaks free. He had it knocked away from behind. The persistence of Condra.
really smart reads. When you're killing a penalty, how you read the play is critical. Condra was outstanding in the neutral zone. And look at Brian Boyle. Put pressure on Stepan. Won't give him an inch to make a play.
Hayes negotiates that line for the Rangers, feeding it through. Kreider in the backhand sends it across, but Schuster got a stick on it. Dan Boyle to the point. Hayes back to Boyle, bouncing puck, and he kept it on the line, says Schuchik. As Boyle has it, he'll fire. That's blocked by Filppula. Hayes the drive, deflected, and it went under the leg of Bishop. He'll keep it right there. What a reaction by Bishop to get a whistle.
A couple of big blocks there. The first one by Filppula in the middle of the ice, and then Hedman gets a partial block, but it changes direction. Filppula straight away, top of your screen. Beautiful block there. Off to the left side of your screen, here comes Hedman. That is a nasty redirection, and Bishop's positioning allows him to make that save. Prior to that, we'll have a chance to go back. That Bishop save we had talked about before. I think Stralman ends up making the save. We'll go back to that and show you in a minute.
Well, he's made a few of those. Here's a drive, a save by Bishop by Dan Boyle. It's cleared out. He's made a few of those in his time with the Lightning. I'm curious as to when the uh-oh light goes off in his head to when he figures I better get in the crease and help out there. Nash chased down the boards now with the final seconds of the Garrison penalty. Yandel winds, fakes, penalty over, Garrison back on. Zuccarello met there by Coburn, can't make a play. And Brown steals. Pass to Garrison, trying to get that red line to chip it in. And the Lightning do get fresh bodies on. Zuccarello tipping the puck to the line, ends up with more, swings in against Witkowski. Can't lose him. Nemestikov over for it. He's bumped there by Stoll. Witkowski. Your check from Fost. And the pass down to Stamkos. It's offside as he trailed Nemestikov in the zone. 1-0. The Lightning continue to lead. An action-packed second period well underway.
Anton Stralman's defensive instincts are outstanding. Let's go back to that play where he helped save. It's right about here, Rick, where that uh-oh light went off in his head. And he's the one that actually made the save. The overhead will show you here. And Ben Bishop thanks him afterwards. Stralman goes, uh-oh, he needs some help. He makes the save in the crease. It goes off of his chest. And then Ben Bishop is able to cover it up. And then Bishop looked up at him, and you know he was saying, thanks, Stral. Thanks for that one.
One cool customer, Anton Stralman.
And he could not have fallen on that puck in the crease, or it would have been a penalty shot. So he used his body, made the save, and then Bishop covered it up. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Shots are 12-11 favoring the Lightning. They've had 2 shots in the second period. New York with 4, including that one. Here comes Stoll out of his own zone. And Bishop saw the signal for icing right off the bat. Helped out his teammates on that one.
Whatever it takes, man, right? Got to get some help every once in a while, and he certainly did from Stralman. He's made some big saves in this game. They've been really tough in the crease area. The Rangers creating some more opportunities here in this second period and spending a little more time in Tampa Bay's end.
Boyle wins the faceoff. Witkowski taps the puck to the open corner. Vermeen challenging McDonough in there. Carl stepped up. Stoll grabs the puck. Boyle helping out defensively for the Lightning. Jared Stoll tried to center in front, and it was fired away by Carl in front of an open net. That drive by Klein is over the goal. Ryan Boyle off the boards. Knocked down by Stoll. And controlled now by Carl. Boy, we've had 2 Lightning defensemen save goals in this last couple of minutes. Klein. Bishop stays put. Hedman. Around to Stralman. Horn boxed in there by Klein. Stepan muscling out of that corner. Leaving it for Kreider. Looks to operate around that net. Slips in front. His try was stopped by Bishop. It comes right back to Bishop, and he'll hang on.
Let's go back to the last attack by the New York Rangers. Luke Witkowski had a good idea, but he lost his depth of where he was on the ice. Witkowski, top of your screen, he's going to lay down to try and take the pass away, but look what he does to Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop is knocked right out of the net there, but Bishop gets help in his crease area again and prevent a goal from going in. Witkowski's done a nice job. Ricky talked about the fact he's a big man. He plays a very physical game. That aspect is valuable on this blue line for the Tampa Bay Lightning at this point in their season. He's done a nice job here.
Here's a shot, and went wide of the net. Comes back to Dan Boyle. His shot knocked down by Brown. He's paired off there with Schuster, who's trying to control him without hanging on. That would warrant a penalty as Brown chips it out safely to center. And Boyle, still the all-time leading scoring defenseman in Lightning history. Hayes plays it in, cut off by Coburn. And a good aggressive play by Brown along the boards. Gets control for the Lightning. Filppula heads up ice. Swings around Zuccarello, and he's got Schuster with him. Now shooting turned aside by Lundqvist. Zuccarello with it. 49 points last year. He's got 18 already. He's going to blow by last year's numbers pretty easily, it would seem. As that puck chops out of play off Zuccarello's stick with 9:23 to go in the second period. The Lightning leading on a goal by Killorn. Killorn, Andre Palat scored the goals, ending Henrik Lundqvist's NHL record 6-game winning streak in Game 7. Their first meeting since then. Well underway here with the Lightning leading 1-0. And again, it's Killorn who's given the Lightning the difference in this game, but 9:09 to go in the second period. Bouncing puck, hitting back to Bishop. He'll guide it over to Nemestikov. Swings away from Brassard. Kucherov knocked to the ice, made the play to Stamkos. Here's Nemestikov reaching out to knock down the pass. Overskates the puck. Zuccarello there. Eric Brassard, one-time first-rounder of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He came to the Rangers in the Marian Gaborik deal. Centering this line with Nash crashing the net. Zuccarello in front of the goal as well. Here's the shot that's blocked, as out in front was Nemestikov, paired off with Rick Nash. Kucherov muscled by McDonough and make the play. Girardi gets rid of that puck. Ahead now for Dominic Moore. Moore waiting for traffic. It's Kevin Klein. Can't handle it off the backhand. Edmund checked in here by Stoll.
You're seeing top line against top line whenever possible. John Cooper wants that Stamkos line out against the #1 line of the New York Rangers. It's worked really well. It's a puck possession game. All those guys want the puck on their stick. Whoever has it, obviously having the most success, but they're also responsible defensively.
London beat the race for the puck. No icing. He's met by Yandel in the corner. Ryan Boyle storming in there against Stoll. It comes back to Strawman for the point. Quick release was blocked out in front. Voss gets rid of it. Pays for it. He took a big hit from London. Yandel fakes, shoots, blocked by Strawman. Knocked in front. Boyle there deflects it, and away comes Vermeen with a quick start. He'll get it out.
Good play by Vermeen. He hunted that loose puck down, wanted to skate it out of the zone, had no room, so he got it out.
Stepan trying to feed it through, and a second try, kicked away. Strawman there. Stepan met by Marchessault. Taken away by the Rangers. Hedman prevented Kreider from centering. Puck knocked down by Stepan, poked away by Hedman off the ledge of the boards. Here comes Miller into Kreider. Kreider likes to operate from back there. And Boyle up top. Doesn't have much of an angle. Vermeen right on him. Stepan on the cycle. It comes to Dan Boyle, where we've seen him pop up just about anywhere in his Lightning career, trying to do something and get something started for the Rangers here. He's thwarted by young Joel Vermeen and company. It's angled down the ice, but we'll get an icing call against the Lightning.
Let's go back to part-time goaltender Anton Stralman going back to the front of the net again in the middle of your screen. Stralman comes back right here. Kick save and a beauty. Ben Bishop had that one covered, I think, but Stralman wasn't going to let it get to the front of the net. He had JT Miller going there. Quick feet. Nice reaction there. He must have played some goaltender ball hockey on the street hockey, I think. Batting 1,000 tonight.
He sure is. Off the face-off, it's tapped to the boards. Nash got it in front. Yandel strays to the corner and tried to fire. There's Anton Stralman again. Stick handles coolly away from a couple of forecheckers. And finally, it's Filppula who controls for the Lightning. 3 Rangers back. Zuccarello went for a tumbling hip check in the middle of the ice.
Keith Yandel actually made a heck of a play there because Filppula was just trying to dump the puck into an open area for Marchessault. And Yandel on that rush was able to bat it away. If that puck gets through, Marchessault was away on a breakaway. Here's the turnover. Now watch 93 White as Filppula tries to dump it through. That's a smart play by Yandel. He even took his hand off the stick, realizing that he was in jeopardy. Marchessault was going much faster than he was. He knocked that puck away. Otherwise, Marchessault's in on a breakaway.
And Zuccarello reminding no one of Bobby Baum. Nemestikov shoved to the boards rudely by Girardi. McDonough beat to it by Stamkos. Kucherov trying to follow up. Hayes gets it out. Coburn back. Puck eludes Nemestikov. Saw that collision with the 227-pound Hayes coming up. It's lifted in by Stamkos. And Girardi, a 10-year man with his team. Played a lot of hockey for the Rangers. Here's Hayes with a pass deflected by Stamkos. Stamkos trying to get it to Carl. That was intercepted by Stahlberg. From the point, Mark Stahl shooting, deflected wide. Reaching in there was Lindberg, the youngster. Schuster in close quarters with Brown. Stamkos flips it up in the air. And it finally comes down for Mark Stahl. Under 5 minutes to go here in the second period. It's been a very interesting night here at Amalie Arena. As Stahl will tip it in, and he tips it out of play. Shots 13-12 favoring the Lightning as they've got that 1-0 lead here in the second.
Welcome back to Amalie Arena in the second period where the Lightning are leading 1-0. And every Thursday, as we mentioned before, is Throwback Bolts Day. It's an opportunity for you to submit your favorite vintage photo with the hashtag ThrowbackBolts. We'll select the best photo and feature it in tonight's post-game show. Rick, Brian, I'm looking forward to some submissions from both of you.
All right, Michelle.
Okay, see what we can come up with. As the Lightning have Valtteri Filppula out between Killorn and Marchessault. Brian, you would expect the Rangers would have responded here in the second period. How'd the Lightning handle that?
They've done a really good job. There's been some more pressure, but I think early on the Rangers were taking it to them. But the Lightning have done a really good job battling back and just squaring that off. Momentum is a big thing, obviously, in games. And I think they've been able to saw that off and not let the Rangers take it over.
Here's tonight's Road Ahead for the Lightning, brought to you by Toyota.
Corey Perry and the Anaheim Ducks coming into town. They got off to a really slow start. Still trying to get rolling. Jeff Carter and the LA Kings, slow start as well. And they've been screaming right along for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, a team that the Lightning always have their hands full with.
Interesting challenge for the Lightning, particularly for the power play, because starting with the Rangers, then the Ducks, then the Kings. Those are the top 3 teams in penalty killing in the NHL ranking. And the Caps are not far behind, nor are the Islanders, who follow the Caps on the schedule. Witkowski works against Dominic Moore. London strong enough to protect that puck along the boards against Jesper Fast. Worked free by the Rangers. Bishop out to play it in the trapezoid. Moves it along. Klein's waiting. Klein and behind 2 more. Swings away from Witkowski, fires off Bishop. Moore gets it back. Fires again in front, and Brian Boyle, as usual, helping out down low defensively. Lightning almost sprung a 2-on-1. Nash gets it back from Fost. Trying to make that patented move to the neck. His centering pass deflected off Garrison, but right to Bishop of the post. Lightning fans get the official military practice jersey. Many more items at TampaBaySports.com. You can also visit the official team store at Amalie Arena.
Well, you can see why the Rangers are winning some games and scoring some goals. I mean, nothing fancy the last couple of shifts when Moore's line was out there with Stoll. I mean, from the corner, just shooting it right into the kitchen of Ben Bishop and trying to get some screens and some rebounds.
Nash pulls the trigger, save by Bishop, and he makes a stop around the net with Zuccarello, planted there by Schuster. And still involved. Bishop just getting up, but he's helped out on a block in front by Coburn. As back come the Lightning. Here's a shot. Save! Lundqvist makes the save there on Kucherov. It ends up out of play.
What a brilliant shot by Kucherov. An outstanding save by Lundqvist. But back at the other end, Coburn probably saved the goal because Ben Bishop was tied up with Zuccarello and he couldn't get back up. Zuccarello will end up right in Ben Bishop's kitchen right here. And then he's not any too quick in trying to get back up on his feet. See how far Ben Bishop, and his foot is caught in behind him. Now watch right here, Coburn. Another kick save and a beauty. These guys are all playing street hockey. These defensemen, Coburn, first Strawman. That's an outstanding save right there. He knew, he had looked behind him. Coburn had it first, and he knew Ben Bishop was having trouble getting back up on his feet. Big save there by Coburn.
Now the defensive unit as a whole, goaltender and defenseman, combining to hold off the Rangers so far on 13 shots.
That's that win 1-0 mentality that they've got going here. Everybody's in on it.
Phil Paulette about 58%. Lightning best man in the faceoff circle against Stepan, who struggled this year at about 43%. And he's now tossed out with Miller coming in. Get Kreider and Marchessault into the circle too soon. Anytime they want to drop the puck is fine with everybody in the house. Lightning get it. Here's the shot that's fired over the net by Killorn. Edmund. Marchessault. Cut off by Dan Boyle. Quickly the Rangers break it out. Kreider swings in. Try to leave it for Stepan. Interrupted by Killorn. Played back to Miller. Out of that corner, centers a shot. Bishop, a save there on Stepan. He's trying for a second try, but the Lightning get some sticks in there. Work the puck green around to Strawman. Ahead for Killorn. Filppula ducks to the middle. Lost the puck. Marchessault getting it back. Fires along the goal line, stopped by Lundqvist. Here comes Garrison down the boards. Taken back by Stepan. Racing over Carl, got there in time, bouncing puck. And Carl gets it back again. Good play to Condra, but it was chopped away by Miller.
Regaining yourself after you've given up a scoring chance or two, which the Lightning just did. Very important. They did it right here.
Brown fires, and it's deflected away. Stepan still out there. Brown throws the hit, knocks down Lindberg. As Condra steps in, swings wide, punched away by Lundqvist. Stepan backhanding it out. He needs a change. Bishop angling it up for Brown with the Rangers having a long change here. That allows Condra to step in. Tried to feed it across. That old bugaboo. And Lundqvist is stopped on Garrison. Then back up the middle for Hayes, but off his stick. Play kept behind the net by Bishop. Hayes meets up with Brown. Hayes with it, trying to center, hits the side of the goal. Kept alive by Oscar Lindberg. Lightning battle to get it out. Taken now by Brown. He's late in the shift. Lightning will change. A minute to go here in the second period. Zuccarello had it worked away by Schuster at center. Coburn spins the backhand pass to Stamkos. Three Rangers converge. Nemestikov trying to tame that bouncing puck. Turns with it. Shoots into a crowd. Deflected in front. Worked in front. And a save by Lundqvist there. Coburn thought he had it. What a stop.
What a brilliant play in tight by Steven Stamkos, and a terrific idea by Coburn to come in from the point. He's all alone, the one-touch pass. He tries to slide it underneath Lundqvist. Nice puck control by Namestnikov. And there's, it was Kucherov who made the pass. Kucherov to Coburn, and Lundqvist finds a way to keep that one out. Look at the body language on Coburn after that one. He thought he had a goal there.
Boy, Zuccarello thought he'd play a little bit of goaltender. The Norwegian. It's not just the Swedes who are in those creases. Zuccarello getting involved there as well. Stoll now comes in here against Stamkos. 44.6 to play in the second. Lightning get it. From the point, it's Strawman. Playing it back to Hedman. Wristing it, and it's blocked in front. Girardi made the block while occupied by Namestnikov, and the Rangers can't get it out. Finally, Moore spins to center. Stamkos works to get back defensively against him. Strawman shoved to the boards by Stoll. 22 seconds to go now as the Rangers going to work in the Lightning zone. Puck comes free out in front for Kucherov. He'll hoist it across to the bench. It ends up out of play. 12.4 seconds to go. Stay tuned for the Gulf Coast Honda Dealers second intermission report as Joel Vermeen in his NHL debut will visit with Paul Kennedy outside the Lightning room. Chief will join Paul on the desk. They'll look at highlights and stats and will introduce you to tonight's community hero.
We're going to have a face-off, I believe, at center ice because that was an incorrect call. The linesman thought the puck had gone into the Lightning bench. The Lightning were really upset because the face-off would have come back into the Lightning zone. But it will be out here in the neutral ice area as the referees corrected it and said, no, it did not go into the bench. It was incorrectly blown down.
Quite a tussle going on behind Mark Shuchik with Brown and Nash. Unable to get settled down. And they're moving in close again. Now as Bessard at the puck away from Boyle and back to Lundqvist. 8 seconds to go. McDonough. Lead pass broken up by Boyle, and that'll do it for the second period of play. As Brown and Zuccarello, one more disagreement. Hedman coming over there to keep them honest. Now Nash and Brown continue their tug of war from the side of the face-off circle, and Brown not backing down at all.
It's been a familiar sight for J.T. Brown over the last several games. Against Florida, he got into it here. Against Sean Thornton, Thornton was not too happy with him. There were a few players looking for him the next game against Florida. It's all good stuff. You got to play that in-your-face kind of hockey and that desperate kind of physical hockey if you're going to win close games.
No scoring in that second period. Shots 7 apiece. And the Lightning carry a 1-0 lead into the third. The goal from Alex Killorn from Valtteri Filppula back at 14:47 of period number 1. Lightning Hockey and Fox Sports Sun has been brought to you by Gulf Coast Honda. Visit your Gulf Coast Honda dealers for great deals on new Hondas. Go to gchondadealers.com. By the Belts and Ruth Law Team at GetJustice.com. Over 30 years helping the injured, non-attorney spokesperson. And by your Tampa Bay area BMW Centers. Lightning set to defend a 1-0 lead after 40 minutes of play as we head toward the third period. And Brian Engblom downstairs between the benches. Brian, you said during the Southern Ford Keys, you said they got to win a 1-0 game. Well, they're positioned to do that. Obviously, 20 minutes to go and seem to be doing pretty well at it.
Yeah, you don't want to back off offensively, but the mentality is there in their own zone. Everybody's playing really hard, doing what they have to do in their own zone. We've shown you a couple of block shots by defensemen. That's a certain type of mentality. There's the physical aspect of the play, the physical aspect even in the neutral zone and in the offensive zone. Defense is not just inside your own blue line. It's guys like J.T. Brown who've gotten in the face of Ranger players and gotten them off their game at certain times. It's Ben Bishop making some outstanding saves and really putting up a huge wall in the crease area. And then the defensemen in their end handling the puck well, blocking shots for them, getting out of the zone as quickly as possible.
Let's have a look at our stats through 2 periods, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Well, it looks like a 1-0 game, all right. Look at the scoring chances. Dead even. Shots on goal, almost the same. Not a lot of free looks out there, that's for sure. This is a playoff style of game where these two teams know each other. The core players know each other from last year, and they are not giving each other an inch. A lot of respect out there, a lot of quickness from both teams. And, you know, the Lightning would like to get back to the third period, in the third period, the same way they were in the first, especially the big line, Stamkos' line, as effective as they were in that first period.
Tampa Bay Lightning hockey on Fox Sports Sun is presented by your Tampa Bay area BMW centers. The Rangers did awake in one category in that second period. They out-hit the Lightning 17-5 after the hits were 11-9 Lightning in the first period.
That's often a two-edged sword there, Rick. Sometimes when you're hitting a lot, it means you're chasing the puck a lot.
Girardi. And for Nash, trying to wheel in front, joined by McDonough as the Lightning defending there with Stamkos taking down Brassard. And the Rangers looking for a call. Lightning gained the zone. Nemestnikov's pass tipped by Zuccarello. Fired by Carl, and it's handled by Lundqvist.
Defensive responsibilities, battling just what I talked about. Steven Stamkos did a terrific job head-to-head against the centerman, Brassard. The Rangers are complaining there should have been a penalty there, but this is hard work going back to the front of your own net and battling for position. The puck's going to be in the corner. Watch 91, the left side of your screen. The puck comes across. Stamkos goes down, lost his footing, ends up pulling Brassard down. That's what the Rangers didn't like. And a little bit of a collision between Stamkos and Ben Bishop. Bishop was a little slow getting up. It seems he's okay right now, but he was stretching out after.
Miller for the Rangers to center with Kreider. They're defended by Strawman. He defended 2 for the price of 1 there at the blue line. Here's Miller down that left side. Met by Hedman. Filppula wedged his way in there. Also helping out Marchessault. Lightning come away with a puck and the pass ahead to Filppula. He gains the line. Now to Marchessault. Looks for the shot, and it's steered away by Lundqvist. Miller throwing a hit on Hedman as Strawman back with a puck. Strawman waits it out. Lightning changing, so are the Rangers. Coming back was Brown to try to get a stick on that puck. Could not. And we end up with an icing call.
Been a lot of changes in goalie equipment over the years, and Henrik Lundqvist has some new skates that look very different. They look almost like a regular hockey skate. There's not that heavy white padding there. They are so much lighter because of that. He moves his feet quickly. There's Ben Bishop skates. That's their traditional. See the white heavy padding there on the inside? Changes all the time, trying to get lighter, trying to get faster. Lundqvist had new pads before anybody else did, those one-piece ones. Now he's got skates that are a little different than most goaltenders are using.
Brown meets up with his adversary of the night, Dan Boyle. In that corner, it's lifted to center and intercepted by Coburn. Lundqvist out to handle it, leaving it for Mark Stahl. Hayes with a pass blocked by Schuster, but right back to him. Hayes angles it in. Bishop getting it to Braden Coburn. Now to Brown. Keith Yandel into the skates of Lindbergh. He got it back to his defense. The lead now for Fost, and Schuster recovering. Carl looks for his partner Schuster. Mike London to center. Delivered 4 hits against the Panthers in about 6 minutes the other night. Seeing action in a second consecutive game for the Lightning. He played in 2 last year for Tampa Bay. That was Klein on the one-touch getting it to Fost, and behind him Moore cut off by Garrison. Moore turns, goes forehand. That was anticipated by Carl. Garrett Stoll takes it. Out of Fost backing up and shooting, and he fires it wide. Yandel. Bishop stepping out to play it. Trying to help his team get control of the puck, get out of this zone. And London playing it down the ice, and the Rangers have to play it.
Good work by the Lightning again. Don't let the Rangers have consistent attack time in your zone. Sometimes you just got to dump it out.
Zuccarello's return feed to Nash, anticipated by Strawman. Fires it to Kucherov. Nemestikov on the move with Stamkos. Stamkos cutting in, looking to make a feed. Kucherov well covered now. Is free and shoots, and a stop there as Nash getting it back to Zuccarello. Eric Brassard will lug it in. Playing it back to Nash, defended by Stralman. Brassard to Zuccarello, and it was Nemestikov active with the stick. He'll race Girardi all the way back. Stamkos takes control and popped off his stick. And busting back Kreider like he shot out of a cannon, cuts in. Saved by Bishop. And a whistle upcoming here as we get a penalty shot awarded to Chris Kreider. As Andre Schuster was back defensively trying to get that puck away from him.
Oh, wow. I thought Schuster did a heck of a job coming across. Kreider was shot out of a cannon. He is really fast. Schuster had to cover a lot of ground to come in from an angle in order to get a stick on him. It'll be the bottom of your screen. Here comes Schuster. He's reaching around there. He does use a little bit of the arm there. It's the free arm that gets him. That's why he called it. I didn't see that at regular speed, but whenever you use that free hand and grab somebody, and Kreider was in all alone, so that's the reason for the penalty shot.
The Lightning have been involved in so many penalty shots early on. Here comes Kreider. In on Bishop. Who makes the save? Ben Bishop keeps it 1-0 Lightning.
Kreider's disgusted with himself, but Ben Bishop gave him nothing. Kreider comes in from an angle big time on his forehand. Bishop doesn't make the move. Goes down, takes the 5-hole away. During the shootout against Florida, he gave up a couple of 5-hole goals. He shut that one down, and there's Andre Schuster goes, thanks, Bish. After Schuster's the one that took the penalty and gave the penalty shot.
When the Lightning involved in a penalty shot situation, they come in twos. Ben Bishop shut down 2 Flyers on opening night. Here's a pass in front of shot. Saved by Bishop. Great save there on Derek Stepan for the slide.
And that one went off the shaft of the stick of Filppula. I think just enough, Rick, to help Bishop make that save.
Lightning just involved with a couple of penalty shots over the weekend. Saturday right here. As Bishop giving up a goal to Brandon Peary. Steven Stamkos was stopped by Roberto Luongo. 2 in the same game again. Miller out to Stahl with the shot. Broken up by Filppula. Marchessault getting it ahead for Filppula, trying to figure out a way to get it to him, and it was by him, and an icing call results.
Ben Bishop has been outstanding in this game, really on top of his game. Aggressive, but patient at the same time, at the right time. This play from behind the net, one of the most difficult for Bishop. That's the play I said it hit the shaft of the stick of Filppula, but Bishop is able to track it. When you have to look over your shoulder as a goaltender to behind the net, and then quickly out in front and not sure exactly where that shot is coming at you, you have to know where players are in front of you before you start looking around. Bishop is really good at that, knowing where everybody on the Rangers is before the shot comes.
Kevin Klein on with Yandel. Pounded here by Brown. Brown, Boyle, Kadri, the line on for John Cooper. Here comes Victor Stahlberg. Up those boards, he's shut off by Schuster. Played back around for Lindbergh. And the puck knocked away by Braden Coburn. Well, he's helped out. Bishop was saving a goal in this game. So is Matt Carl. And Anton Stralman's made a couple of saves. Ryan Boyle slides that puck ever so slowly down the ice, but it will result in a whistle. And now we got Boyle and Hayes.
Those two have seen a lot of each other tonight. 2 big center icemen. When Hayes has gone out there, because you pointed out, Rick, Hayes is a big guy. Well, Brian Boyle is one of the bigger centermen in the National Hockey League as well. So it's big man against big man, and as that puck was sliding down for icing, they just stayed in the corner and exchanged pleasantries for a few moments. There's the first one. There's the second one. They know it's an icing call, and well, one more shot for Boyle, maybe one more for Hayes. And we're going to have both of them go cool their heels for the next couple of minutes on the other side of the ice.
Well, Boyle, in a game of this import, leading the Lightning in ice time through 2 periods. Now, granted, there are 1 forward short, 7 defensemen, 11 forwards, but he played 14-18 of the first 2 periods. They each get roughing penalties here at 5:25.
Well, he's a valuable guy in killing penalties, too, so that gives him ice time as well, but he's matched up really well. He likes these kind of head-to-head matchups.
The New York penalty to number 13, Jeff Hayes, and the Tampa Bay
Checked by Zuccarello. Girardi up the boards. And Carl takes over. Harrison working with him. Trying to get free of the hook from Brassard. It's held in the zone. McDonough now for New York. And taken away by Stamkos. Back for Kucherov. One-on-one, Zuccarello. This will be interesting. Leaving it now for Garrison. Backhanding it wide. Carl leaves it for Kucherov. Back to Matt Carl. Stamkos slides into the slot. Try to stay unseen by the Rangers. The outlet knocked down by Carl.
Both teams at times in this game have really tried to use the stretch pass to obviously create offense, but also to alleviate pressure in their own zone. And both teams have been effective at times. The Rangers were looking for that long pass again there, broken up by Carl.
Yandel fires, knocked down by Bishop as he hugged the post. Lightning goal coming in a 4-on-4 in the first period from Alex Killorn, their first 4-on-4 goal of the year. Hedman turns away for the pressure, getting it down to Nemestikov. Killorn is his partner, and they swing it on the wing. Killorn shooting, and it's off Keith Yandel. Nemestikov back to Killorn. Yandel still with that assignment. And it's given up to Stepan, looking now for Nash. It's angled out of its reach all the way back to Bishop. Nash peels back. Nemestikov playing it back to Hedman. 17 seconds left on this 4-on-4. Schuster. Room to roam. He'll lug it all the way to the Ranger zone and fired on goal where it's handled by Lundqvist. And he'll get a whistle with 6 seconds to go in the 4-on-4. 1-0 Lightning here in the third.
Midway through the third, it's still Tampa Bay by a goal. 3 men in the National Hockey League scored over 40 goals a year ago, and as you can see, 2 of them are in the building tonight. Steven Stamkos with 43, and Rick Nash of the Rangers with 42. And while Stammer has continued to score, and light the lamp this year, he's got 9. It's curious, Rick Nash with but 2. A year ago, Rick and Brian, he had a dozen at this point. Alain Vigneault is saying he's playing well, he's killing penalties, he's playmaking with Zuccarello and Brassard, but the goals haven't come. He's had his opportunities as well this evening. 4 shots on goal of the 18 by the Rangers, and yet still you look at the scoreboard and it's Tampa Bay leading 1-0.
Here's Carl shooting, and it's blocked. Vermeen after it. Penalty's over. Here's a try toward the net, blocked in traffic, fed to Boyle, he's stopped by Lundqvist. Brian Boyle raced in from the penalty box, and Lundqvist, his old teammate, stopped him.
Great hustle there. Brian Boyle out of the penalty box, beats Hayes into the defensive zone and gets a scoring chance. Puck retrieval, good job by the Lightning, and then just get it to the net. The left side of your screen, Brian Boyle gets inside position, a nice little play at the end. Hayes didn't give Hayes some credit. He did get back and get his stick on Brian Boyle, so Boyle couldn't get a clean shot there. But good hustle by both men coming out of the penalty box.
Shane Heyer calls for a new Rangers sentiment. Brassard tossed out. Zuccarello opposing Stamkos. Rangers get it. And Nemestikov raced Stahl, got the puck. Lightning get control. Carl in behind the net. Lundqvist trying to help out the Ranger efforts. Puck chopped by Nash up the board. Zuccarello across to Brassard. Lost track of it. That allowed Matt Carl to step up on him. Force the play back. Nearly 8 minutes into the third period. Puck bounced in wide of Bishop. And it's grabbed there by Carl. Round to Stamkos. Playing it ahead. Kucherov, Nemestikov. 2-on-1. Boyle back. Nemestikov to Kucherov. And coming back was Nash. Nemestikov circling with it. And behind the net. Mark Stahl getting it free to Brassard. And he's got line mates busting out of the zone. It's Nash cutting in. Played well by Stralman. He'll turn it back around. Stamkos. Now he's got fresh legs off the bench. Here's Stamkos to Marchessault. He's checked by Stepan. It came in on goal. And it's covered by Lundqvist.
Action at both ends of the ice. The 2-on-1 to Kucherov and Namestnikov. You have to hand it to Dan Boyle. Dan Boyle's stick work is very good. He makes Namestnikov wait. There's the initial pass. Well timed. Look at Boyle. He's changing his stick position all the time, which makes Namestnikov wait till the last second, and then Rick Nash comes back and deflects the puck away. And then Stamkos later on the same play, leaning in, trying to lay the puck into the scoring area in front of the net, and the New York Rangers come back to clean that one up.
Boy, that almost went in. I think it was one of those where every member of the Rangers touched the puck on its way to Lundqvist. That was bouncing around like a hot potato. But right on cue with what Paul was saying about Nash and Vigneault's comments about him. He comes back and helps save the day defensively for New York. Schuster waiting for some help. It comes free to Ryan McDonagh. Bid back up top now. Stoll works it around to Girardi, firing, and it's blocked in front by J.T. Brown.
Brian Boyle has no stick, but now he gets another one back. That's why the Rangers were trying to work on that side, Rick, because Boyle was without a stick.
And Brown helping out in front of the net, and he just bumped McDonagh right off the puck. He's been a physical force, at 4 hits in the first period. That broken stick now behind the net. And still may be a factor as the Lightning look to work the puck up the ice. Killorn. Lead pass for Filppula. Steps into the zone, meets up with Yandel. Filppula controlling it. He's been so strong on the puck tonight. Kept in by Carl. Here's Garrison charging down the boards. Puck to Marchessault, shooting a stick save. Lundqvist, and he kept it away from Filppula. He was matched up with Lindberg out in front of the Ranger net. The way this is opened up, Brian, you can almost think it was 3-on-3.
Yeah, good point.
Filppula to Marchessault, fronted by Klein. Killorn playing it back to Jonathan Marchessault. Hangs onto that puck. Spins it down low for Killorn. Couldn't find Filppula going to the net. He'll test Lundqvist, though, and he turned that aside and out of play. 9:32 to go in a tense third period with the Lightning leading 1-0.
Steven Stamkos is always trying to get better. He is consulting with Hall of Famer and former coach Adam Oates, who was in the building this morning and has been watching his games, reminding him that there are 5 different options when you're on the attack. This is one of them. Stop up and make a play, and this is a terrific one. This is another option. Take a look, go one-on-one, and try to challenge and drive wide to the net. The other ones are cutting across, shooting on the fly, all the different things that Adam Oates wanted to remind Steven Stamkos of. So a lot of the players do this. They hire people, individuals, to help them get through slumps, etc. Even though Stamkos is the leading goal scorer on the team, getting Adam Oates' advice is really good stuff.
Witkowski's shot just tipped wide. Of course, Oatsy, a former assistant coach with the Lightning under Rick Tocchet.
Right.
When Stammer first got into the NHL. And Wes Wall's having a lot to do with his development that first year as well, working with him closely. And Adam Oates structuring that power play very well for that team that season.
Oh, he's brilliant. Adam Oates has so much knowledge of the game and the finer points of the game, especially the offensive part of it. One of the great assist men ever to play in the game, and a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame as a player. And I think it's great of Stamkos to be taking his counsel and trying to figure out ways to get better and create some offense and goals.
Stamkos on the ice right now. Loose puck grab now by Nikita Kucherov. He had 8 points in that 7-game Classic Series last year against the Rangers, and he steals a puck here. He'll bring it in against Zuccarello and Kreider. Down he goes. And the Rangers looking to go on the attack, but they don't have the puck just yet. Now Kreider has it. Carl there, able to play a man-to-man. Here's Girardi walking in, firing, blocked by Kucherov. Behind the net, it's Stepan. Out to the point, the shot, that's blocked. And Kucherov took that at it again.
I think he wants off the ice. Enough of this stuff. He's limping a little bit. Those were two really big blocks, Rick.
Boy, he went sliding across to prevent McDonough from picking up that puck. Miller has deflected. Marchessault walks in, fires, and it's gloved by Lundqvist. Knocked that puck out of the air and raced into the breakaway. Dan Boyle around the net. Here comes Yandel. Gets it on goal. Bishop leans over, covers it up.
Jonathan Marchessault creates offense. He's been really good again in this game. Knocks this puck out of the air, flies up, and makes a terrific shot. That was labeled top shelf and a big glove save. Watch Kucherov here in an outnumbered attack. Get brilliant position, fold that leg underneath, and that was his first block shot. Then the second one, he's going to get in the middle, extra effort there, knocking the puck away. Kucherov did it. That was after he had blocked the second one with a full-on shot right onto the shin pads there. Kucherov with two outstanding defensive plays.
Puck played off Vermeen's stick. Made sure he got it out. And Brian Boyle stealing that pass across the middle. Absorbs a hit from Dan Boyle. And out comes Hayes with a pass to Yandel, trying to kick it to his stick. That didn't work. Over and back, pressured by the Rangers. Stahlberg lost the handle on it. Schuster there with Brian Boyle. Lindbergh got it out in front, taken over by Vermeen. Out he comes to center. Going to make the play to Coburn. That was blocked by Yandel. Both teams changing. Yandel long lead pass, and that was off Kucherov's stick. Comes back to Bishop. He'll fire it back to Kucherov at center. Sends it over Henrik Lundqvist. Ryan McDonough with the pass ahead for Moore. Played now by Strawman. Edmund trying to get it to Domestikov.
Boy, the intensity in this game is outstanding. Brian Boyle and Hayes were really giving it to each other after the last shift.
Here's a steal, a shot, they score! Kreider got it out in front and fires it home to tie it up with 6:17 to go. Actually, Dominic Moore out in front on a quick play at the side of the net, and it's Moore who ties it.
A seemingly harmless play as the puck was in the corner, but the Rangers get in on the forecheck and turn it over, and it is Dominic Moore. As Bishop tries to play it around to the wall, it seems to bounce off the stick. I believe that was Garrison in the corner, and it just popped right out to Moore. Moore comes in behind. Oh, no, excuse me, that was Strawman, 6-5. He couldn't control it. When the puck is along the wall like that, sometimes you put a little extra weight on your stick, and it seemed to pop right off his blade. It went right to Moore. Moore walks out and goes short side as Bishop is trying to regain his position.
Garrison challenged in there by Nash. Rangers trying to follow up with some pressure after they tied the score. Held off by Ben Bishop and his Lightning teammates. We're about 55 minutes. Close to it. Here's Garrison in deep. Kreider off the bench trying to come up with that puck. The Lightning have it. It's Kadra. He's got Brown with him. The pass to Brown. And McDonough forced him off. That's an interference penalty. And he's going to go to the box, and the Lightning will get a key power play chance to get that goal back in a 1-1 tie here in the third.
Ryan McDonough's in the penalty box. This is a big chance for the Tampa Bay Lightning. On the power play here, right side of your screen, J.T. Brown is trying to fight through to go after the puck. He never touched the puck. Condra had dumped it in, so it's an interference call on McDonough.
Well, as you've touched on, Brian, a number of times, the style of play of J.T. Brown and what he's brought to the effort tonight, having to sure impact that play.
Yep.
Sellout crowd, 19,092 enjoying this one. Thoroughly entertaining evening in a 1-1 tie with 5.5 to go in the third period. The Lightning have their second power play. They got their first one midway through the first period. Unable to get a shot on it. Kucherov. Allowed to walk in. He's met there, and Shane Heyer says that puck came out of the zone. We'll get the offside. Here's tonight's Diamond Performance presented by Ackerman Jewelers.
I really like the way Brian Boyle has played in this game. Watch this defensive play there. That quick stick there on the quick turnover on the penalty kill. Look at him just hound Stepan. Stepan thinks he's going to turn. No, not going away now either. Really good stuff and physical play by Brian Boyle.
Played more than any of the Lightning players coming into this third period. Had a little power play time late in that first opportunity where he's been working in a couple of practices. They're down numbers, obviously, with 5 forwards out, but he's also a big body.
And he's played right up against Jimmy Hayes, who is a big guy himself. And so you need that big body against big body there, and that takes a lot out of you physically, and Boyle's been up to the task.
Marchessault gains the line. Nemestikov. Great move. Cuts in. Can't free up his stick, though. Kucherov with it shooting, and he just sends it wide.
That hit Marchessault in the knee. It was headed for inside the post. Great shot. A bad luck.
Line off the glass, down the ice. 47 seconds to go in the call against McDonough. Hedman. We'll just head right up the middle, playing it down to Killorn, steps away, fires, and a save by Lundqvist. He'll hang on as Girardi and Killorn went spilling to the corner.
You really got to like that. They took the shot on the rush. We talked about this a lot. When the power play's not going well, sometimes you're so focused on let's get the zone, let's get it set up. No, let's get in there and on the rush, let's get the puck to the net. That's what Alex Killorn is thinking about, and that is a really good shot. That was labeled for top shelf on the far side. Hedman with a nice rush there in the setup for Killorn.
Filppula a toss for the faceoff, but here comes Boyle with 30 seconds to go on this power play. On the faceoff, helped out by Killorn. Girardi comes away with it. Got it free to Stahl and knocked down by Garrison out of the air. What a play by Garrison for the moment. Now it's sent down the ice by Moore, who's the villain of the moment as far as his home crowd is concerned. Hedman turns the net. Continues on, back to Boyle, trying to set it up for Garrison, but not to within his reach. Lightning will try again now, late in the penalty. McDonough stepping out of the box. Filppula across to Garrison, wresting it in front, turned aside by Lundqvist. Killorn trying to provide some traffic. Tangles with McDonough. Girardi gets control, lost it to Killorn. Worked away by Zuccarello. Mark Stahl skates it out. Both teams with furious changes at the bench. Schuster with his reach. He outreached Nash. That's hard to do. Kucherov out ahead for Nemestikov. Stamkos coming late down the boards. Leaving it for Kucherov. Little fancy move through the legs. Back out to Schuster. Kucherov in front. Stamkos fires, blocked by Kevin Klein.
Boy, that's a big save by Klein because Stamkos was loaded in that top slot area, and that one-timer was outstanding.
Helping out Kucherov, stopping Nash. The Lightning on the attack now as Stamkos will dump it in. Shifts are short here in the late going. Kreider stepped away from Marchessault. Dan Boyle's drive is deflected, a knuckler that went wide. Killorn takes it, couldn't get much on the clear, held in by Dan Boyle, taken over by Carl, and now it's Killorn back for the Lightning. Heads to the middle, Marchessault with him. Marchessault shooting, and he sends it wide, corralled by Filppula. Back to the point, Strawman with a shot. That's blocked in front by Dan Boyle, and Carl playing it back. Lightning are offside, they got to tag up, they'll go for a change, and here come the Rangers out of the reach of Miller.
This is one of the best games I've seen the Lightning defense pay attention to the players away from the puck. They have not let offside forwards of the New York Rangers get behind them and go for breakaways.
Stahlberg tips it in. Brian Boyle back for it. Check there by Lindbergh. It's chipped in now by Kadri. Lundqvist can't get it by Kadri. Boyle coming over for support. Rangers got it free, and here comes Hayes. Hayes into the zone, a penalty upcoming, and it will go against the Lightning. And interference, the indication here with 1:26 to go in the third period.
I think it's Brian Boyle away from the play. As he
number 11, 2 minutes interference.
As he was back checking, Jean-Hébert the referee didn't like what he saw from Boyle. Boyle was up against Stallberg, I believe, coming back into the zone. It happened in the neutral zone or near the Lightning blue line. So huge kill here for the Lightning.
And you got to fight off that thought of here we go again, because the Lightning have had so many late game disappointments lately. Here's McDonough to step on. They play catch with it up near the blue line. Step on, playing it back to McDonough, got away from him. Filppula gets it free. Here comes Brown. Brown cuts it. Filppula scores! Valtteri Filppula! The Lightning lead 2-1. 1:05 to go in the third.
You gotta want it. These guys really wanted it. Great work inside their own blue line, forced McDonough to cough the puck up, and then they have speed and momentum. McDonough's got to hustle and get back into position, but Brown waits until the exact right time and puts it in between the stick and the body of McDonough, who is gassed on the play. And then the one-touch shot by Filppula, that's just a little area pass by Brown. He fed it right in front of Filppula, and Filppula pulls the trigger and beats Lundqvist over to that side of the net. Brilliant execution, shorthanded.
First shorthanded goal for the Lightning this year, and still work to do with a minute to go in the third period. And Boyle's penalty extending to the end of regulation time. Here's Lindberg leading it at center ice, as now Lundqvist going to the bench. Conrad shoots, knocked out of the air. Hayes saved a goal there. 6-on-4 for the Rangers with 38 seconds. Zuccarello stepping in, leaving it for Hayes. Waiting, feeding it down to Zuccarello. He tried to go backdoor to Yandel, just out of his reach. Dan Boyle down the boards, cut off by Strawman. Yandel got it free. Zuccarello steps in front, shooting at Bishop. Held the post. Hayes has it now for the Rangers. Hayes moving up top, wristing it wide. As Zuccarello shooting, hits the back of the goal. Kreider with it. 8 seconds to go. Lindberg getting it to the point, kept in the line by Hayes. Now to Dan Boyle. He's hurried by Killorn. A try by Kreider. They're going to run out of time. The Lightning win the game. Let's have a look at tonight's Morgan Auto Group play of the game.
It's Killorn and Brown on the penalty kill. As the puck goes back to the point, they put pressure. Filppula over to Brown, back to Filppula, and Filppula hammers it into the empty net. Terrific work by Brown here. He sells the shot to freeze Lundqvist. Lundqvist is not sure if it's coming or not, and the pass comes across. Filppula puts it in.
The Lightning, undermanned, win the game. The Rangers winning streak ends. We come back with more in a moment.